In the quiet towns of ancient Greece, there lived a young woman named Arachne. She wasn't born of royalty, she didn't speak to gods, but her hands told stories, stories woven into thread with such mastery that people began to whisper, "She weaves like Athena herself." But Arachne didn't deny it. She didn't flinch or bow. She welcomed the comparison, as if challenging the heavens themselves. So Athena descended, disguised. She warned Arachne to show humility. But pride is deaf. Arachne did not yield and kept the image like she was one of the gods herself. And so, the goddess issued a challenge, a weaving contest. Mortal versus deity, thread against thread. Of a truth, Arachne's tapestry was flawless, but it didn't flatter the gods, it exposed them. She weaved in a way that made it seem like mortals were comparable to gods. But interestingly, Athena was still not offended by the skill. However, something still triggered her. She was enraged by Arachne's defiance. A defiance she had because she allowed the idea that she was comparable to the gods to grow in her head. So Athena tore the masterpiece apart. And Arachne, who had placed her sense of self-worth in her ability to create something like the gods would create, felt humiliated and broken, so she ran away and tried to hang herself. But the gods don't always let you die. In a twisted act of mercy, Athena transformed her into a spider. Not as a reward, but as a sentence, doomed to weave forever. Not as a queen of craft, but as a creature of the corners. Listen to me, comparison doesn't inspire greatness. It inflames ego, and eventually it destroys the one who harbors it. Just like Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." And yet we keep comparing. Why? Because it feels fair, logical, measurable. He has more followers. She has clearer skin. They're more successful by this age. It feels like we're all on the same racetrack. Same starting line, same finish line. But that's the illusion. Comparison pretends there's a level playing field, that we're all running the same race. Even though that can't be further from the truth. No two people on Earth are on the same timeline. No two people will arrive at the same destination. And no two people are even built for the same terrain. But envy has a way of lying. It doesn't just say that others are winning, it convinces you that you are behind. Albert Camus once wrote, "Man is the only creature who refuses to be what he is." And nowhere is that more obvious than in the way we compare ourselves. Let me show you what I mean. There's a fish called the archer fish. It doesn't roar. It doesn't race. It doesn't even swim particularly fast. But it has a rare skill. It can spit a precise stream of water to knock insects off branches above the surface, mid-air. But guess what? It learns to spit water precisely by watching how light bends through water and adjusting its aim. That's impressive, right? Now, put that same fish beside a cheetah. On land, it would look ridiculously unimpressive, slow, vulnerable, and forgettable. But in its own world, underwater, it's a marksman, a sniper, a master. That's what comparison does to us. It takes a unique design and tells it to compete in someone else's arena. It makes mastery look like mediocrity when judged by the wrong standard. And eventually, if you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life trying to outrun a cheetah when you were meant to command the water. Comparison doesn't just damage how you see others. It erodes how you see yourself. You stop chasing what's right for you and start chasing what looks right for them. But the worst part is that, even when you win, when you finally catch up, and probably even outshine those rivals you compare yourself with, it doesn't feel like victory, because it was never your race to begin with. This reminds me of a bird in the wild called the bowerbird. It's not known for its song. It doesn't wrestle other males for dominance. Instead, it decorates. It spends weeks, sometimes months, arranging twigs, shells, flower petals, even colorful trash, just to attract a mate. But here's the wild part. It understands aesthetic balance. It has an eye for symmetry and color, and if it sees another bird with a better display, it'll sneak in and steal from it, improving its own bower with someone else's beauty. Sound familiar? We do the same. When we scroll, we compare. When we curate, it is to imitate, trying to outdecorate the stage content others put out, while quietly hating our own behind the scenes. And it's killing us. Just Stephen Furtick once said, "The reason we struggle with insecurity is because we compare our behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel." You know what that means? You never get to compare yourself with someone truly, because you don't know what their life is really like, behind the scenes. You only compare yourself with their results, which is a shame, really, because the truth about a man isn't what he has achieved, but what he has done to achieve those things. So how do you break this habit? How do you silence that quiet voice telling you you're not enough, just because someone else is more? Number 1, recognize your path. You weren't meant to be a copy. Your story, your timing, your growth, it's yours. And the moment you try to trace someone else's pattern, you blur your own design. Number 2, measure backward. Don't ask, "Why am I not there yet?" Ask, "How far have I come?" Compare who you are now to who you were before, not who someone else is today. Because progress isn't about catching up to others. It's about catching up to your potential. And finally, curate your inputs. If every scroll makes you feel smaller, if every post you see is a reminder of what you're not, then maybe the issue isn't you. Maybe it's what you keep feeding your mind. You don't need to stop being ambitious. You don't need to stop dreaming big. But you do need to stop calibrating your ambition through someone else's progress. Because comparison doesn't just steal joy, it distorts your direction. Had Arachne simply created for the love of the craft, if she would have just focused on weaving as expression, not as a contest, she might have been remembered as the greatest mortal artist who ever lived. But she didn't want to stay unique. She wanted to win against the gods. And in trying to win, she lost herself. If this message hit home, share it with someone caught in the same trap. Someone who scrolls and silently aches. Someone who's forgotten how far they've come because they're too busy watching someone else's pace. And if that someone is you, then drop a comment below saying something like, "I'm stepping out of the race I was never meant to run." And remember the words of Lao Tzu. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you.
Do like this video and subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video. Cheers!